Welcome to You're Not Actually a Leader Yet, the podcast where I bridge the gap between the person you are today and the leader you're meant to be. My name is Cassie Adkins, and I am your lovingly honest leadership coach. The word leader is thrown around a lot these days, and I do mean a lot. Sometimes in a great way, and sometimes not so much so. Everyone in life has been influenced by someone that has called themselves a leader. But were they actually leaders, or were they people that simply made their way up to the ladder or built the ladder and got the title? That's quite a bit of a difference. So let's look at the definition of a leader. There's quite a bit of debate around the definition of a leader. So today, I'm going to share my definition with you, some ways to spot a great leader in yourself and in others. So, when we think of the definition of leadership, according to Merriam-Webster, a leader is someone that leads, such as a guide or a conductor, a person who directs with military force, a person who has commanding authority or influence. Yikes. It's no wonder why there's such confusion and dichotomy around what the actual definition of a leader is. A guide and a military commander are vastly different, and some people you meet are definitely the latter. They command authority through force and fear. Others truly embody that first definition, though. They guide their people to greatness. There's a lot of people that fall in between. So think about the last person that you reported to. Which definition do they most closely align to? Why do you put them in that category? Now, did you say they were more like a guide? Why would you say they were a military commander? And when you think about the time that you spent under that person, did you feel like you were under that person? Was it a time that you look back on fondly? Or are you like, holy shit, I'm so glad I don't ever have to see that human ever again because they made your life miserable? I read recently that managers actually have a greater impact on employees' mental health than almost anything else. Let's think about that for a minute. Managers, who you report to, have a greater influence on your mental health. If you're a leader here listening today, I want you to take a minute and think about that power and the influence that you have on the lives of those reporting to you. You have the ability to make or break that person's mental health, their career, their day to day, and hold on to that throughout your day today. Never forget about how influential your role in their lives are. So think about the best manager that you've ever had. Okay. Who was that person that you reported to? What were their characteristics? What were the circumstances around meeting with them? What was so great about them? Take a minute to just think about the adjectives that you would use to describe that amazing human. Were they empathetic? How about being a good listener? Did they speak in a way that made you feel heard? Maybe they spoke less than you. Maybe they listened more than they spoke. So for my definition of a leader, it's very much that best leader that you've ever had adjective set. A good leader leads by example. They don't just talk the talk. They walk the walk with you. They roll up their sleeves. They get down. They do the work with you. They're not serving it up to you on a silver platter and saying, here's how to do it. Let me give you all the answers because, you're not growing and I don't trust you. They're not micromanaging. They're not barking orders. They're genuinely interested in helping you grow as a person. They will equip you with the tools that you need to accelerate yourself. They help you reach a place in life and in your career that you didn't know was possible, or you wouldn't have gotten to without them. A leader definitely listens more than they speak, Let's go with the cliche, you've got 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. I really am a firm believer in this. I have had leaders that I've worked with that thought they just had to fill the room with their voice, their expertise. And everyone knew that they were not the expert, and they looked pretty poorly on them for filling that space with just noise, not their voice. Another quality of a great leader is that they take the time to actually get to know their people, not surface level bullshit, but what you're actually like, what things you're into, what your goals and hopes and dreams are. If you asked, hey, what did you do this weekend? And their response is crazy like mine. And then I say, hey, I was pickaxing some holes in the backyard to plant some bushes in. That you don't just roll your eyes and move on like a lot of people would. You wait a minute and say, hey, tell me, what the heck is a pickaxe, right? Because I have a feeling there are some people listening right now that might not even know what a pickaxe is. Some people might not realize that I live in the country on 12 acres and that I'm an avid gardener. And you're never going to learn those things about me as your report unless you ask. It's incredible what showing genuine interest in someone does for the other person. A good manager gets to know you on that deep level. They know what makes you tick. They know what makes you happy. They know what things just bring you joy in life and in work. They make comments like, hey, Cassie, been to Lowe's lately? And then everybody gets to chuckle together knowing that, yeah, I probably have a serious problem and buy way too many plants and spend way too much money at Lowe's. Okay, so what? That's me in an essence. And a good leader and a good human talks to people and connects with people on that level and has conversations. You have to be interested in your people. You have to wonder what their hopes and dreams are and what excites them. Ask them, what gets you out of bed in the morning? Now, has there ever been a job that checked every box, that everyone loved every aspect of? Maybe there is someone listening that has had that magical job. If so, please ping me because I am looking for a career change. I'm kidding. But am I? So seriously though, there's always going to be things that we like and we don't like at work and in life. If you have a report that loves to create and maybe your help center needs a little work, why wouldn't you assign that to them? Or maybe there's a task that needs to be done by the whole team and 3 of those 6 people really love doing that set of tasks. Give it to those 3 that like it. Find something else for the other 3. Work division doesn't have to be fair, right? Life is not fair. We're taught that as kids. Give tasks that your people will enjoy doing to them and shift things around. Get creative. So takeaway, piece of advice, get to know your people, get to know what they love and what they don't love. Now, the final part of the definition for a good leader, in my opinion, is that they hold themselves to a higher standard than they hold their reports. We've all had a leader who was a hypocrite. Let's be honest. Okay. They would say one thing. They would tell you that you have to do something. And then when it came time for them to do it, they didn't. It's infuriating. When you're looking at your manager and you just want to scream, are you serious? You've written me up for this, but hey, go right ahead. Don't you worry about it. Guys, it looks bad on you and it feels even worse for them. If you're a leader listening to this podcast right now, I want you to take a minute to reflect on the last time you told your team to do something that you didn't follow the same direction yourself. Take the moment to apologize. Own it. Say, guys, wow, I tell you all the time to reply to Slack messages within 12 hours or end of day. But I didn't get back to you guys for 2 days on this message. Own it. You'll get respect from it. And don't keep doing it. You have to make a conscious effort to hold yourself to that higher standard. So for me, what leads into the question of what kind of a leader are you? My guess is that most of you listening today have a leadership title or hope to have a leadership title at some point. Maybe you're just stepping into a leadership role because you were a great IC and really exceeded. Maybe you just were a great employee that they said, hey, we want you as a leader. So can you go ahead and foster an environment of other great employees like yourself? When we think about the kind of leader you want to be, so ask yourself what kind of a leader you are today, not the kind of a leader that you necessarily want to be. Just think about this moment right now. When you look back at your last one-on-one that you had with someone that reported to you, what did that look like? Did you skip it? Okay, that's a no-no. Did you talk all shop the entire time? Did you literally talk the entire time instead of your report? Okay, so I'm on my soapbox. I get it. I'm sorry. Main question. Do you lead your one-on-ones with empathy? Do you genuinely put yourself in the shoes of the people that report to you? Are you more of a military commander than a guide? Are you just bossing people around and leading with fear? Do you throw around threats because you want compliance? Now, there are certainly leaders out there like this, and there are times when we have to be firm with the people that report to us. That's life. But we don't ever have to be a militant leader. We don't have to be rude. We don't have to cuss, yell, raise our voice. There's a difference between being assertive and definitive in what we need and expect and being just a jerk. Most managers want their reports to respect them. You don't necessarily have to be liked to be a good manager. They're very different. But to have respect is what's going to make or break you as a leader and is really going to define if you are a leader or not. A big piece of being respected is being seen as a human. They are humans. You are humans. You have to have connections at a human level. Some are really good at showing their emotions and being very human and vulnerable. Other people just aren't. It doesn't mean you can't be, but it does take work. Not only do the people that report to you have a complex set of emotions, they also have lives outside of work. I know. Believe it or not, work is not our entire lives anymore. It's not how people identify with who they are. We are our own people that happen to have a job with a certain title or at a certain role. Remember, we are emotional people, and with that comes different needs. Maybe somebody needs a mental health day. Maybe they just need a day off. Maybe they have to go to a funeral. Maybe they need a sick day. Maybe they just need a day to sit and watch TV all day. Maybe their kids are homesick. Who knows? And honestly, who cares? We all have varying needs, and as a leader, it is your responsibility to make sure that you know what those needs are so that you can help address them and meet them in any capacity that you're able to. Ask yourself as well, if you talk over people when you ask or seek answers from them, do you ask your reports how they're doing something and then immediately start to speak? And then you cut them off and tell them how you would have done it or you should have done it, Don't fill the space. Please stop. Just stop. Let them talk. It's their time to shine, to seek feedback, to get the expertise that they can hopefully get from you, not through you talking over your team. Also ask yourself the very honest question of if you're a know-it-all or a micromanager. A lot of people don't realize that they're a know-it-all, and they don't think that they're a micromanager. And rarely is it ever a malicious intent. Most people I know that are micromanagers don't have ill intentions. They honestly have control issues and probably a lack of trust. If you can trust your team, you shouldn't have to hover over them. You should not need to get every detail of every aspect of every minute of their day. A general overview will more than suffice. Let them know what you need, when you need it by, and if there's any specifics around that. Otherwise, trust them. Let them do what you hired them to do. I'd like to leave you with thinking about the leader you want to be. Reflect on what we've talked about here today. What has surfaced for you? What is a good leader in your mind? Who is a good leader that you've had in the past? How about a bad one? Then say to yourself, I know I'm here, but I want to be here. And what does it take for me to get there? Is it overnight? Not a chance, but it's possible. But it takes you being conscious of what you do and how you do things on a day to day and how that compares to the end result. It compares to the end of where you want to be. It really comes down to where you are today and where you want to be. In order to bridge that chasm, you have to acknowledge that there is a gap. You have to say, okay, every day I'm going to make an effort to be a little bit better at this than I was yesterday. That's all anybody can ever ask of anyone, is to just take one small step towards who you want to be in the future. If you enjoyed what you heard today, I would love it if you would leave me a 5-star review on wherever you're listening and tell someone else about this podcast so they can give it a listen as well. Tune in next week where we continue to dive into leadership and what it means to be a good leader.